Hey, this is Mrs. Harris, and even though I can't be with you today, I didn't want to leave you hanging on these type of problems. So when you have a quadratic that has a coefficient in the x squared term that is not a 1, how do you go ahead and find the roots besides looking at Desmos? To do that, we're going to do something called factoring by grouping. We could do a guess and check, and we could say, okay, what are factors of 2 and then 4, and how can I arrange them so that when they're multiplied together, they give me -4, and when they're added together, they give me 7x. That's not really an efficient way to do it. So when we factor by grouping, like your worksheet did today, what we want to say is A times B, and that's your 2 times -4, has to equal -8. But then A plus B has to be able to give me 7. So we've seen this kind of notation before. All right, so we have to think of factors of -8 and get two numbers that when we add or subtract them, they will give me they will be able to give me 7. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here's -8. And we go ahead and I'm just going to start out with 8 and 1. Is there any way to combine 8 and 1? And we know that because it's a -4 at the end, that the 8 has to be positive or negative, and the 1 would have to be positive or negative. One of them has to be positive, the other one has to be negative. Since it's a positive 7x, then the 8 is positive and the 1 is negative. So here's a little trick that we use in math. We're going to rewrite it. We have 2x squared, but instead of writing 7x, I'm going to write it in terms of 8 and -1. So I can write it as plus 8x minus 1x minus 4 equals 0. So 2x squared plus 8x minus 1x minus 4, because 8x and -1x give me 7x. Now I'm going to group these together. So I'm going to take this as a group, and then this as a group. So what is common? What is common between 2x squared and 8x? They're both divisible by 2, and they're both divisible by an x. So I'm going to factor out a 2x. So what times 2x gives me 2x squared? An x. 2x times x is 2x squared. What times 2x gives me 8x? A positive 4. Now let's look on this other side. This says -1x minus 4. What do they have in common? Well, let's take a minute and look at this. This is -1 times x, and the -4 can be broken up as -1 times positive 4. Yes? Because -1 times x is -1x. -1 times 4 is -4. So I see that -1 is common to both -4 and -1x. So I'm going to factor out -1. And when I do that, I multiply -1 by what to get -1x? Well, I multiply it by that x, and I see that right there. What do I need to multiply -1 by to get a -4? A positive 4. So now we've broken it down to 2x times x plus 4 minus the quantity of x plus 4 equals 0. So now I see that I have two of these kind of terms, x plus 4 here and an x plus 4 here. So we're going to go ahead and factor that out as well. When I do that, what remains? I have a 2x and I have a -1x. I have a -1, not a -1x. And so that equals 0. So now I have the factored form of the quadratic 2x squared plus 7x minus 4 equals 0. So now I'm going to set each piece of it, each factor equal to 0. So I'm going to take this factor and set it equal to 0. And then I take 2x minus 1 and set it equal to 0. So on this factor, I subtract 4 from each side. And one of the roots where it crosses the x-axis is going to be x equals 4. The other root, we're going to add 1 to each side. So I get 2x is equal to 1. So I'm not done here because it says 2 times x. I don't want that. I just want x, so I divide by 2. So x is equal to positive 1/2. So if you were to go ahead and put 2x squared plus 7x minus 4, put that into Desmos, you should see that it crosses the x-axis at -4 and at 1/2, because those are the solutions. So this is how you go about factoring by grouping, and that's the assignment that I gave you today while I'm homesick.